All right, I'll call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the Express Times and Star Gazette, satisfying the Open Public Meeting Act. If we could please stand for a silent prayer and flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do I have a motion to pay the bills presented in proper form, signed by the director of each department and approved by a majority of the members listed on the bill list?
Are the bills all signed? If they are, I'll move it.
We'll wait till the end of the meeting. I'll second it.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Dan Jelly?
Yes.
Dan Ruth? Yes. And Kern?
Yes. Public comment pertaining to agenda items. This is public comment for agenda items only. If you could just come up to the microphone and sign in, please.
Hi, Louis Carbona from Alpha. I was noticing in the resolutions waiving municipal fees associated with the citizens' exercise of the right to bear arms. I went on the POHACon website to double check on the calendar because I was informed the meeting was tonight just to see what time it was. They still had the old date on there. And I was looked at the agendas and they're a little bit behind on posting the agendas. Do you normally not put the wording of the resolutions in the packet here? Because
No.
I'd like to make comments about the right to bear arms, but I don't see what your resolution reads.
No, we normally do not have copies of the resolutions.
Very lengthy, or is it just a few sentences?
Most of our resolutions are lengthy, yeah.
Okay. Would you like to?
Yeah, well, I was going to explain it before we vote, if you...
Okay, I'll just make the comment that as a very big pro-Second Amendment person, I believe that in general, the government body here is trying to make sure that there's no impediments to actually following the process that the state of New Jersey has done by maybe alleviating some of the burden. So it looks, just from the statement, that's probably a positive thing.
Yeah.
Without knowing what you're going to say.
I'll read it before we do it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lou. Is there any other public comment pertaining to agenda items only? None. We can move on to the, Kevin's going to be a little late, so we can just go right into Township Council reports with Frank.
Okay. First thing, the budget was adopted last meeting, and we have received an audit report on 2012. Looks like it was very thorough. They had 16 recommendations for improvement, some of which have already been implemented, others are being pursued, and we'll, whoever practical, will follow those recommendations. I do want to thank Mayor Kern for putting together this organizational chart, which tells what each of us is responsible for, and I think it'll make it a lot clearer and more transparent for the citizens and for us practically too, to know what we're responsible for.
Yeah, I agree with you, Frank. Anybody has a question on, who's in charge of what, they can pull it right down and, see who to talk to.
Right, and Mayor may not always be available when he starts his new endeavors teaching. So I think this will become very helpful. I think once we get our new website up, I think it'd be a good thing to have on there for citizens to know as well. The Historic Commission, I think Mr. Weiss are you available to speak with us on some of these agenda items today? If I could.
Yeah, I was going to say during your report.
during my report, yeah, I just want to introduce, we did talk about it, the historic signs that we approved last meeting in the Historic Commission meeting, and there wasn't so much enthusiasm for a lot of signs. I think we ordered 60 signs, and I think we're going to go around with a member of the Historic Commission.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to hear back from the vendor.
Okay, I spoke, actually, I didn't get a chance to speak to you about this today, but I did speak with the vendor, and it's actually a good thing because what we approved last month is actually too high because it's got hangers on there and installation fees on there for all 60 signs, even though we're not going to use nearly that many. So we're going to save about $3,000.
Yeah, right there. That's great.
And I guess I'll just have Mr. Weiss speak to us on the wing walls and anything else he wants to speak to us about.
Kurt, do you need to put the paper on or no?
Sure. I've got it.
Okay, that's fine.
It'll work on that.
Maybe not. Okay. Load the truck.
There's two things to talk about. One is the a resolution, which I think you got a copy of, in that we are going for a grant through the county again for the arch. There's still work to be done on the wing walls. We did the work that we did on the inside the arch was completed. All that's moving forward as far as being satisfied with the county and their grant and what to assign and certain things. But we have a proposal from Cherry Weber to do the wing walls, which I think you have is $157,000 or change somewhere in that area. We want to go for another grant through the county. The county is now at a point where they don't do the whole grant. They ask for, I believe, 20%.
25.
So it's in there somewhere where the township would have to come up with 20% of that $157,000 in order to finish that project. So that's one of the things. It's if we go for that, we have all the grant work done. It's got to be in at the end of this month. We can move forward with that. We just need a resolution from you guys to give us the blessing to do that. Once we do that, it's really a year before we can get the grant, and then we have time after that to actually do the work. So it's not like we're looking for that money in this budget. It would be something that could be put into the next budget.
Kurt, in that quote, does that include any engineering that would be done on the job or not?
My understanding, and you'd have to talk to Glenn, is that that's
Stock and barrel.
She already did all of that work when she did the inside of the tunnel. So this is really an addendum to that original quote. And we broke it in half so that get inside work done, because the grant that we got from the county the first time really only talked about doing historical stone work inside the arch.
I think the engineering is already done, actually.
Yes, it's all included.
And-
Plus, I believe that includes her overseeing the project, everything else. I think that's soup and nuts within that.
Okay.
I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was 25%, I think.
I'm not sure exactly, but
I'll find it.
It's like $40,000.
that would be the first thing that we want to bring to the council. Second thing is, we have talked to the council in the past about the line kilns along the river. We've had a survey done, and we've been able to do basically a go upside down the way you're looking at it. The river's along there, and there's already an easement that's involved with the property from New Jersey. But there's an easement on this section where we did our subdivision. So the only thing we did is we expanded it slightly just to go along the topography of the property so that we can have access to certain areas We want to talk to the council and propose, as we had before, that we make this a separate block and lot, that the township take ownership of it. Once we're able to do that, then we are able to get funding to restore the landfill. Right now, as it sits, it's still owned by the cases and easement on it. And there's just too many entities involved in private properties, and we're not able to pay grants. The cases have shown very much that they are willing to do it. So we've been talking to them. It's kind of, at this point, we need to make sure that you're still involved and still are willing to move forward with it, and we can probably at that point work with Kevin to get the whatever we need to get a certain tax number for it, and work with the cases to transfer it to the township. Along with that, Mike Margulies has found out that there is some county money for, if there is any costs as far as attorneys or whatever, there are some monies in the county for procurement of historic property. So it's not definite, but it's something that we can work for.
Did they give you like a number that they were interested in trying to sell it for, or not?
They're giving it.
They're going to just donate it pretty much for like $1 or whatever. Okay, all right. Just want to make sure.
So the main thing for the township is then you go get the property, get the insurance, and we would work with the railroad to get it cleaned up. You're already getting bids for trees removal. We're kind of moving ahead with that anyway, because if we keep it, just let it go, it's already falling apart. So we're really moving forward with tree removal. We've got 2 bids, and we work with the society, the historic society, to just get that job done this summer.
Good. Well, I think everyone on council still supports the one.
We passed a resolution
Yeah,
to
we
support it
we
already.
still support it. So whenever, do we need to now, are we at the point where we should start talking to the cases ourselves about acquiring it, or you think we're at that point?
I think we're probably at that point.
Okay.
Would this be anything that we use any of the money from the general store for?
I mean, I think it's just going to be a simple,
Right, I mean, the only thing that, like we said, we've got one quote, or one bid, one quote for tree removal, it's around $9,000 to $10,000. We're getting another one, which should be lower. Society's putting in some money. If there's any money, just to kind of work with them to make sure that we can stop at least the deterioration. I know we have a budget, we can pull some of that money out of our budget, but we're also still working very hard on Regalsville to get that nominated. So we will need some money to work on that for the nomination.
There'll also be some monies for the tunnel wing walls that'll be related.
That's mine.
all right. Well, when Kevin gets here, we'll make sure to fill him in, and then we'll reach out to the cases, I guess, and try to get some type of agreement worked out and move forward.
You want this so that we can, I don't know if there's anything to start working on block and lot, or if there's anything you need to.
If we could have a copy, that would be awesome. Yeah, thank you.
And they talk about the tunnel. They're going to be working on a bridge anyway, so the tunnel will be closed again, basically, because of working on the bridge. Yeah.
In a year, I think.
Yeah, if they could coincide that together, that would make
Yeah.
sense. I thought that bridge was scheduled for the end of this year.
So did I.
Right. So maybe if we could, try to time that together.
Our hope was to.
Well, while you're working to get the funding is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's going to end up being closed probably before you get the funding because of the bridge being worked on by the county.
It's possible. We're going for the funding in this round. So I think they'll let us know by fall whether we get funding. So it could work, which really, I was really putting that more out for you guys, because I don't want to say, hey, we need $30,000.
Yeah.
Then you haven't counted.
Yeah.
But if there's a way of,
But if they're working on the bridge,
right,
so it's closed, that's a good time also if you're
Absolutely.
working on the tunnel.
Maybe we'll get lucky. All right,
And
thank
then finally, everything will be done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt.
All right.
The only other thing was on with the clerk's office, I want to maybe pursue, we hired Susan Shire to work afternoons, and sometimes there's occasions where we need coverage. I was wondering if we could get a bell put or something so that when she's working in the back office and somebody comes in and Carrie's not there because it's not a tax day and
Oh, like one of those alert things, like when you walk in, you hear it go?
Yeah, either that or a ring a
New
bell.
doors will have it, the old ones did.
They will?
I think so, I hope so. The old doors did, they dinged, so you know.
Okay, good.
I'll check with that.
Okay, good, that would be great. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Dave?
Unfortunately, our Department of Public Works computer has crashed and all his notes are in the computer. So until we can get Donnie a new computer and access it, he doesn't have any report for us. I know the crew's been working down on River Road doing some paving. They were actually paving down there today. But other than that, Donnie had said all his notes were in his computer. The Environmental Commission, we met and we went through our bylaws. We made the amendments that we felt were necessary to bring them up to date. We will review them at our next meeting, and I assume we will probably adopt them then. On the Environmental Commission, that was the main gist of our last meeting. On the Land Use Board, we just reviewed the, I guess you would say it would be the reconstruction or the demolition and reconstruction of the old Walmart complex. They have 3 proposed stores to come in there. I believe they're starting on the demolition now that they need to do. They received their preliminary and final approvals for the shopping portion of that application. There is one other residual pad site they proposed, but they are not clear on what that will be, so that was not only given just a preliminary approval pending determination on what's going to be there. Other than that, I can't really speak to anything else, either environmental or land use. That's about it.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Mary?
All right, first, today I attended a DARE graduation. Mike Cozy is our DARE officer for the township, and so the children did their DARE graduation. It was very nice. We had students read their essays that they had done, and they gave awards for spirit. And then they had really great, it's called the cupcake cake. So it's a cake, the whole cake, but it's all made up of cupcakes, but it's like a cake, which is really delicious. But it was a very nice thing to attend anyway. And Sergeant Cozy does a really nice job with the students. You can tell that there's that interaction. The other thing is kind of like I guess a little bit of a safety issue, and that is that I got a letter from the Delaware Bridge Toll Commission, and they would like to alert the public ahead of time that they're going to be working on the bridge and in that area of the Route 22 going into Pennsylvania, that it's going to be down to 1 lane. So they are suggesting that you, if you can, that you go to the 78th bridge because they're just about done with that work. So you wouldn't have the tie-ups in traffic that you might have at the other bridge. They also recommended not using the Free Bridge because if you've gone over the Free Bridge, you know even now how congested it gets. So that's just a little bit of a heads up. They should be starting on that within, I think, like another week. And other than that, the regular police report I will give at the next meeting, and that's it.
Thank you, Mary. Sal?
There's a tree down by the Ricklesville Bridge that was knocked down by a car or a truck. Did you look at it, Chief?
I didn't personally look at it, no. I don't know who the
Did you have an
investigator is.
investigation?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. I didn't follow up on it to
Somebody-
find out, but somebody's looking into it.
Oh,
Or
they
the
are?
investigating officer was that particular evening was looking into it.
Okay, thank you. Grass cutting, we're cutting grass all over the township. I must have about 30 letters out, and it's going very good. I don't understand these banks. You know, they foreclose on these properties, and they don't do anything about it. The houses are falling apart. I just don't understand. There's some houses, the grass must be up to my eyeballs.
There's one on 639 right now, like that across from Krause's.
I took care of that one. That's cut.
Okay.
That one is cut. I just don't understand it. The Chambers property, they must have got tired and they quit. What are we going to do about all that? I think we should take more action on that. All that debris should be taken away.
Well, what do you propose? What are you proposing?
Okay, I'm proposing that we do something about it. That we write them a letter, another letter, formally cite them that they have to clean up. That's all we're asking for. Nothing more and nothing less. To please clean up.
I guess
Heard from Paul Arrow yet?
Kevin, have you heard any response from your?
No, I have had some discussion, not with Paul Arrow, but if we need to, we can, if we're going to have an executive session, maybe we can discuss that.
Okay.
As a possible pending litigation matter in executive session.
Okay. Frank, how much money do we have for capital improvement for this year?
In general, or for what specific item? I think they're,
Well, what I was thinking of, like out front here, we're going to need some type of milling machine to level that off in front of the township garage. We have to grind up some of those,
talking about the asphalt in front of the garage.
well, there's different elevations there. And we're going to have to mill some of that out. We've got the trailers all out of there.
You need to smooth it out after the trailer's left, and that sort of make it a nice smooth.
Right, that's what, I don't know if
I don't think we budgeted anything specific for it, but do we? No.
We're going to have a milling machine working in the Still Valley Tunnel, so it's already going to be on the clock. If when we go to do that project, we could get a quote to see what they would want to mill that area down. Our guys could pave it. I mean, we'd have to come up with the money for the blacktop. But I said we're going to have a milling machine on hand or here close by working. I'm sure we could work something out with the contractor to do
very,
that.
very good. Because that'll make that whole area.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought the same thing, Sal, that area should be reconstructed a little bit and designated as either employee parking or something.
It was written up as an insurance matter that we had to address that. Remember that?
So it's already been noted that it
It's
needs
been
to be.
noted that it needs to be addressed, and we responded that we would try to take that into consideration at budget time.
What was that area used before for, Wanda? Was that employee parking there
It
or
was
not?
mostly handicap parking, no, because we had parking on this side, but now the building's here.
Is there anything, and you wouldn't have the answer, but what is it designated on the new plans or the new prints? Is it designated as employee parking yet, or? I mean, that would be my suggestion, if there's adequate space there, that we reconstruct that area and designate it maybe employee parking.
Where's that at?
There's a
Over here
ramp.
where the trailer was, you know, that side of the building. If there's enough room to allow it.
What, I was thinking about a handicap.
Well, there is a
Yeah,
spot
but you
there,
see, these two on this side, they're not wide enough.
we have
but there's one on that side too.
We have
That's
the other
right.
side, too.
We could, that's very good. We can use that one there,
Yeah,
designate that as a
it's
handicap.
still blue, it's still.
Yeah, the blue
Yeah, it's still there. So we can, yeah.
Signage to go back on.
Instead of moving these two handicap spots out, we'll have 3 or 4. Leave those two there and put that one there.
It's a shorter ramp. Somebody needs to do business at that end.
Right.
Was there just a handicap spot there before?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to remove the trailers up at the Shimers School. Did we hear from the power company?
No, we haven't.
I'll still work on that, so we get those trailers out. And I want to get that light removed from the pole. We don't have to light up the Shimers School. Maybe we'd save, I think it's about, I'm just guessing, $25 a month. We could save that.
Yeah, that's
If
something.
we get rid of that. And then get rid of that temporary service too. But we have to have the power company disconnect that line that comes from the road into the Shimers School area.
So can't they just turn it off rather than like really disconnecting it?
What's that?
Couldn't they just turn off the power there rather than really disconnecting it? Maybe at some point, if somebody buys the Shimer School, they might need that service.
But then we'll have to pay so much money a
You
month.
do?
Yeah.
Why would you want that?
I just thought rather than taking that down.
I would say disconnect it. Why would you want it? They have electric inside the school.
Okay.
I agree with Sal, that's a safety issue, that once they pull that meter out, it's still live, they need to disconnect it.
So that
They-
whole
The
has
whole,
to come
whole
out.
pole will come out, the triplex will come down back to the
But
transformer.
JCP wanted to put that pole in, we over there.
Right, right.
We should keep the pole.
Well, it'll be our responsibility to take the pole, the switchgear and such out ourselves, but they'll come and take the wire off the head, remove the wire from the head back to the transformer. And that's something we can't do ourselves, and that's what they need JCP&L to do.
Are we done paying for the trailers?
That's a good question. Are we?
Yeah, there's just the removal.
Okay.
We're not,
That's a real
Yeah.
good question. We don't want to pay for that.
no, we just have to pay for the removal.
Oh, we have to pay for the
It's
removal.
part of the contract, yes. Just like the installation.
Jeez, they got us both ways. Right now, I don't have anything more to say.
All right, thank you, Sal. Kevin?
Not a lot from the public portion of the meeting there, other than that we did get an update request from COA with respect to the, still in the courts, but the court, I didn't read. Court wants a letter indicating how we've spent our Affordable Housing Trust Fund money, so I'll be working with our planner, Susan Grohl, to develop a letter for your signature. This relates to the money we spent for the school. We're trying to reimburse ourselves from the school. That we put that deed restriction in place. This is all well over a year ago when this first came up. The spending plan that Susan Grohl submitted a year ago in furtherance of that has never been approved. Has none of the other municipalities in the state, except for one. So we'll develop a response. They're not asking for the money because it's still sitting in court, but the court did say you can go ahead and ask for the response from the municipality. So we're going to respond, basically say, look, we got this approved by you, we've already recorded the deed restriction, and the spending plan was revised and it's just been sitting on your desk waiting for a signature for a year. So we'll see where we go.
I know where, but.
Well, it's important, hopefully, to keep that money in
No, absolutely.
the township because it's $500,000 worth of money. Maureen, I don't know whether do we still have that sitting in account somewhere? Or? Yeah. Well, I don't know whether we ever transfer it out of the Affordable Housing Trust account or not. So maybe.
Yeah, it looks like there was it was like $500,000, and then they split it between $300,000 and $200,000. Is this the Council on Affordable Housing Development was $505,000 at the end of 2011.
Okay.
Now it's $202,000, but there's an added line for Shimer School deed restriction for $300,000, which looks like the two add up close to the same thing.
Okay. So they bifurcated it, but the money is still in the account, Frank, and we haven't transferred it to our general account. In other words, we haven't really reimbursed.
Another trust reserves for, yeah.
Right. So what about so when we did all this, we were wise enough not to actually put the money in the general treasury and spend it. So the point is that it is still there. And hopefully at the end of the day, this whole process is designed to reimburse ourselves for the cost of our purchase of the school from our own school board. It should work, but COA has been so hamstrung, if you will, between litigation for the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, we don't even know if it's going to exist by the time the Supreme Court gets done. It's a very unsettled situation. So we've done the best we can to keep the money in the town. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do is prove we'll be able to actually take 80% of all those funds, which is I think that's probably part of the 300 breakdown. You have to do so much of the money. Of the 500,000, I think about 20% we're going to have to utilize to help disabled seniors or low, moderate income families, or whoever ends up at the school, to help them relocate, to help them with their rentals of the units. So you have to spend so much of the money for the occupants. The rest we can use to reimburse our purchase. That's what we're trying to accomplish. And that's where we're going to try to get to. Today, this letter that we're going to have to draft is just going to explain all that again, explain all the steps we've taken. And as I said, the only key cross not dotted is the actual approval of our spending plan from a year ago. Susan Rule, our planner, did that a long time ago, but like many others, is sitting down there at Cohen and they haven't acted upon it. Theoretically, you can only spend the money in the Affordable Housing Trust account in accordance with the approved spending. So that's the one extra step that nobody in the state has. With, I think, as I said in the last meeting, one township got one approved because they were
Through court order, yeah.
So it's an important issue. Hopefully, at the end of the day, it will go our way. But there's sufficient money in the state to act. Some townships have very little at stake. It's a matter of a few thousands. We haven't had quite a bit. So it's an important issue for us. We'll see if we can stay in the town that we're trying to do. Beyond that, we are still in fairly active negotiations with the owners of the Phillipsburg Mall. Myself, tax assessor, driving me nuts actually. I'm getting personal calls from the owners of the mall, which I can't technically speak to them because they're represented by council. I keep telling them that. But hopefully between now and the next meeting, we actually may have some numbers-wise to talk about.
Oh, really?
Which would be potentially feasible to the township, in my view, the settlement that we live with. So I'm cautiously optimistic that I won't get into the numbers here in public so that people can flesh out. Beyond that, I don't think there's really anything more. There's a lot of things we have in the works. Nothing else unless anybody has anything to take.
Kevin, with our new purchase order processing, there's come a question. I mean, the design was to have a department head approval. Lorraine, as CFO, would certify the funds available, and a council member would sign it as well. Some employees are feeling uncomfortable about signing for things, I mean, like electricity or fuel oil or something like, or anything like those types of things. Is there some way we can give our employees comfort that they're not, reading the meters, but they're approving the electric bill, or, that,
I think the whole encumbrance voucher system generally, when a department head signs, first of all, the voucher is supposed to be signed. You take me, for example, I submit a voucher every month for my retainer. It's required. I'm on a fixed retainer. I still submit a voucher every month. I sign that, certifying that my whatever legal work that covers that month is then performed. So I sign that. And then when that goes in, I don't know where the legal would go to, in terms of who's in charge.
to me, yeah.
It would go to you. You're just confirming, generally speaking, as that department head, that services were received. I don't think he goes to the level of, and then generally, as part of your function, if you can look through and you pick something up, you pull it out and it's discussed at a meeting. With regard to general electricity bills and utility bills, I think those are relatively pro forma. I think when you get to bills like PCI for this, for a construction project where there's some more detail, maybe somebody on the subcommittee who has more knowledge of what's happening with those bills. I don't know how.
I mean, is there like a reasonable man standard or something that we could?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally speaking, when the department head signs off, they're just, yes, we got that part in the road.
Yes, the lights
Yes,
are on.
yes, legal. Yeah, yes, we got electricity. I don't think it's committing you to more oversight than that, if you will. And that's, I think in bifurcating and spreading out the bills between each department head, I think it's designed so that the person most familiar with that function sees it. With respect to, general things like electrical and utilities, frankly, I didn't even know that we got vouchers for those, but if we do, I would think generally anybody can sign those.
Well, I think the mayor's flow chart is our model for how we're flowing the bills up to people, and I think it's working pretty well that way. The person most directly responsible, for example, Dave Slack on land use, would see the things related to the land use board and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like when Lynn Arrow's bill comes through, it's really, if you guys see something particular, that's fine. But I think it's just a general oversight mechanism. I don't think it creates. It is a reasonable man standard. I mean, you guys are do the best you can. All of our department heads, whether it's Wanda or our CFO, finance, you try to make sure the bill goes to the right department. If there's a specific bill going to, if somebody thinks the bill is not part of their department, maybe it should be reallocated, something along those lines. But I mean, if you guys need a general memo from me or something, just give me a general coverage as far as a legal opinion that it's to a reasonable man standard. I can certainly do that.
Okay.
If there's a detailed bill somebody really is worried about, like PCI or something, that's something I think should be looked at more carefully. Beyond that, general routine bills, I think anybody could reasonably do them. I don't know. Okay. I'm not aware of any particular standards.
What do you mean reasonably doing?
As I said, any routine bill, like a utility bill.
That's right. We can't go around reading all the meters.
Right. I said it's just generally speaking, the service was received. That's the general standard. Like Craig said in there, the lights are on. Yes, we're getting electricity. You're not vouching for the precise meter. You're not vouching for my precise, somebody in the public questions a particular, entry of mine, which has happened in the past, say, you got something wrong. That voucher, my voucher, I signed my own voucher. It's nothing wrong. If you recall, about a year ago, it's just an example. I use myself, that if whoever on the committee or whoever two people signed that particular bill don't have any liability for not having picked it up, or then CFO didn't pick it up, I didn't pick it up. You know what I mean? So everybody does the best they can with the bills. It's just a vouchering encumberancing system. It's just a checks and balance. I think as long as every department head here does the best they can with the bills that are fairly within their jurisdiction, that's all you can do.
Thank you, that's good.
Can I ask
Wait a
a
minute,
question though,
yeah,
because I think
yeah.
their issue is the
Right.
misunderstanding of who's a department head and what's a director.
Okay. I'd have to
Because-
look at the ordinance.
Lorraine had given me a stack of bills as a department
Right.
head, that I did not want to say that I can swear to the actuality and the satisfaction of certain things.
Right.
Other employees' mileage, your bills,
Right.
Service Electric, Verizon. There's other things that have been picked up, and I don't want to swear to the actuality. I've never done that role before. I think that belongs in finance personally, where it always was, or it was council reviewed all the bills.
Well, council is still reviewing all the bills. There's a
Kevin, is it kind
council
of,
person reviewing. And
the way I'm thinking of it, is it almost like you're receiving a package and you're just signing that you took the package, and then it's up to the other person, to the person who's actually receiving the product, to make sure that it's almost like you're the receiver and then there's someone else overlooking it?
Well, the
like-
council has a whole, bills don't get paid unless the majority of you sign off.
No,
That's the rule.
It's changed.
it's changed.
We're not doing it. How are we doing it? Just
We're having one council member responsible for a specific area.
Oh, they don't, okay, and then, but the general bill list.
The general theory is,
In other words, when it crosses to a general bill list, the bill list often gets.
The bill list is approved by and everybody sees the bill
Well, that's
list.
what I'm saying, it's just an extra layer. So I guess my point being is, it's simply an attempt to streamline the process. So Wanda, I guess, as I said, between you and Lorraine, if there's certain bills that you don't feel within your department, perhaps they should be reallocated. Your department's very general, so it's kind of hard to say versus where, Department of Public Works is obviously very easy. Your general administration is
That's what I was
harder.
explaining to Lorraine. I have no objection to signing for things that I know that Wendy or I have ordered, have come in, we're satisfied, or services or things that.
I don't know how you would, as I said, nobody here is going to have the responsibility.
And it's an extra layer of work that falls into my office.
Right,
When I'm trying to get ready for a meeting, I'm going to have to go through a building file.
right.
But I'll do, it's ready by council and whatever they decide, but I just have some concerns about it. I don't feel that the municipal clerk.
Well, maybe we can sit down, I can sit down with Frank, and we can see what's going on with the process, so that we can get some definitive examples, and maybe between Lorraine and Frank and you and myself, let's try to work it out. We don't have to do it here.
Right.
I mean, the concept is, I think, is a good one. I think the general concept was, hey, the council as a whole doesn't have time to look at the full stack. So if we break it into each department head who has more familiarity with that particular bill, it will streamline the process. I think that makes some sense, but we'll sit down between now and the next meeting and just go over it. And
Several bills, like the phone bill. Everybody here
Everyone
uses the
uses.
phone.
Well, I think the problem is that a town of this size does not have a town administrator.
Right.
And a town administrator would be
one
the-
who listens on.
and I think it in some area, it is default on the clerk or whatever position that is assumed. So we have to maybe look at that. That's where I think,
I think that you're right.
yeah, everyone uses electric, everyone uses a phone. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess those types of things, we tend to fall to her, and I can understand that burden is doesn't have. So we'll see what we can do.
I think we could work it out. I think it's a good idea. I don't mean to monopolize.
I just want to make it clear from a legal standpoint. I don't think that, I think everybody does the best they can with reviewing those types of things, and there's no, and again, I'm perfectly comfortable putting this on the record here in a brief memo to anybody, any department head. You can do the best you can, taking a reasonable, quick look through the bills. And it's just a reasonable person standard. It's not that, hey, if that bill turns out to be wrong, that there's responsibility, particularly you. You know, that's above and beyond the pay, especially on general bills. Okay. And you know, I think I'm even legal, my department head for something. I have to go back and look at the ordinances, to be honest with you, but am I by myself? My legal bills, I mean.
You were in my list. Your bills.
Right, so maybe someone we can reallocate. We'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions for Kevin?
Wait, I do. I want to go in reverse here a little bit. The $500,000 that we got from, remember, we made Walmart pay when they came in.
We have also, part of the money that we're speaking of today.
Right, remember they brought us into court and we won.
Right, yeah.
We won. Now, we've been getting interest on that money. Lorraine, that should be in a separate account, the $500,000 plus the interest.
It's in a separate physical account.
Right.
It's in
Okay,
developmental
that's all separate. Okay,
That's the whole point.
Right.
Is we're trying to basically, ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to transfer that money from a trust account essentially, and we want to use it to pay ourselves, to reimburse ourselves for the cost of the school, because we now are going to make that property an affordable housing project. So that's the issue. We're trying to spend the money now, in part to reimburse ourselves, and we just need to get that approved by COA, and it's been a very, very long
because the
process.
state's been trying to take all this money from the different municipalities.
Right. But
They have their hands, they want every penny we have.
Right, but we developed a specific plan to keep it in the town, and we're hoping that's going to work, but we're not there yet.
All right. Anyone else for Kevin? Okay. My end, the first is just with the COA. Mary Van Loo and I met with our planner, Susan Gruhl, last week about the Shimer School, about meeting with a facilitator for veterans housing and an actual organization that will then repair it and upgrade the building. She's working on getting us a list of COA-approved, I guess, vendors who will be able to do that. So we're in the process of moving that along. Nonprofits. We're also looking at maybe reaching out to the Department of Veterans Affairs, federal and state, to see if one of them would be interested. The other thing on your agenda, you will see there's a motion for the Cooper Home Systems, the remote court proceeding system. What that is currently, if we have someone who's being arraigned in municipal court from the jail, our officers actually have to drive up to Belvedere and then bring them back, sit in front of the judge then sentences them, and then our officer takes them back up. What this will do is that now they will, a lot of towns already have this, is they will sit in their cell, they will see the judge on TV, the judge will say it to them, and then we'll shut the TV off. Jeff, we ran the numbers for one officer, was it $7,000?
About $7,000
It cost the town for one officer to do this $7,000. It's usually on court days, 2 or 3, so double or triple that, but I wanted just to give you a very conservative estimate of that. And that includes the overtime, the wear and tear on the vehicles, and if there's a female prisoner, you have to have 2, I believe, that have to go up there. So
Sometimes we have more than 3, 4 prisoners that we bring into court, so there's 2 cars right there.
yeah, so this is going to be very efficient as far as arraignment for the criminals, and it'll speed up the court process as well. Also, just to clarify with what Mr. Cardabona had brought, or Councilman Cardabona had brought up, we have a resolution about our municipal fees. I happened to come upon this on accident. I was looking at our firearms registration in the township, and we were charging, they're very tiny fees. It's $5 and then $2 for every weapon that you purchase. And it pretty much mirrors the state police, what they charge. I felt that I didn't really think it was appropriate for the government to be making money off of something that you have a right to do. So this will put a stop to those fees. And we kind of went back and forth between Kevin and whether or not it was an ordinance or a resolution, but it's not actually specified in our fee schedule. So a resolution will put a stop to that tomorrow. So that's what that is. I ran the numbers, and if, hypothetically speaking, if every single resident of Powhatan Township, man, woman, and child purchased a weapon, it would cost us $38,000 if they bought 3, the max they can. So it's not even an exorbitant amount of money if everyone did, which they won't. But this is just, we shouldn't be collecting funds on this aspect. So that's what that resolution is.
Which one is that?
So first, second, it's the fourth one.
Fourth one?
Yes, sir. So that is all of those. So if we'd like to move along, would we like to go into the resolutions?
Well, if nobody minds, I would say we could take them all as one, and I would move that.
I'll second it.
These are 4.
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Van Loo,
Yes.
Angelic,
I didn't have a chance to read it.
You're on the wrong page, you're reading motion.
It's short. You read it on there.
All right, I'll read it. It says, resolution waiving municipal fees associated with the citizens' exercise of the right to bear arms. Whereas the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution guarantees the right of citizens of the United States to keep and bear arms. And whereas the mayor and council of the Township of Powhatan seek to minimize the cost to residents of the Township of Powhatan in obtaining firearms in furtherance of their exercise of their constitutional rights. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township of Powhatan of the County of Warren and the State of New Jersey that all municipal fees associated with securing a New Jersey firearms purchase identification card and/or permit to purchase a handgun hereby are revoked and rescinded. That's it, Sal. So there's a motion. Sal, how do you vote?
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes. All right. Ordinances, first reading, we have none. Ordinance, second reading. This is 13-5 to establish Title 39 jurisdiction of the Walmart Supercenter property, the Commons in the Township of Powhatan, New Jersey. Do I have a motion
I
for
move that we open it up to public comment.
a second? Is there a second? Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Does anyone have a public comment pertaining to ordinance 13-5? If you do so, please come up, sign in, state your name and address.
Just for the record, by the way, I'll just indicate, just in case you answer the public question, the intent of this ordinance is so that our police department can write traffic citations if people don't comply with the various directional markings on the pavement in the Walmart Supercenter or the stop signs, etc. So it's extending basically statutory Title 39 motor vehicle jurisdiction to the parking areas of Walmart, so that, you know, if somebody does not obey those traffic signals, our police department can enforce it.
Thank you.
Louis Carbona again in Alpha. Just a comment as a matter of principle that not seeing how the wording that the attorney was commenting about, it's very hard for the public to make any comments. Maybe they or myself might have some suggestions or something in that regards. I know I have read the Powhatan previous ordinance for the previous Walmart where it lists out all the different spots where you have the specific traffic regulated intersections. You list the stop signs and different no parking areas and stuff. So I can only assume that this ordinance also has that language in it.
The ordinance was not prepared by me, it was actually prepared by our township engineer, and yes, it does have
All
those
right.
specifics, and it has to by law to be enforced.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this when I was at the land use board hearing when they were discussing this. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment pertaining to ordinance 13-5? There being none, do I have a motion to close and adopt?
I move to close public comment and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, Becker,
Yes.
Slack,
Yes.
Dan Lewis, yes, Dan Kelly,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes. For motions, I would like to ask that we wait until next meeting to authorize Cherry Weber, just in case anyone has any questions about these projects, the bridges. Does anyone have objection to that?
Are those the ones we got the funding?
Those are what we got the funding for. Just to clarify, I believe it's 2 weeks. Does anyone have an objection to that, to withhold?
Motion 4 and motion 5 both?
Yeah, those two.
That's fine. I prefer that.
So we'll withhold those two and then a motion for the rest. Does anyone
I'll
have?
move that.
Okay.
Seconded.
Becker,
Yes.
Slack,
Yes.
Dan Lewis, yes, Dan Kelly,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes. General public comment. If you have a general public comment, if you could please sign in your name, address, and just state your name at the seat.
Is this for a specific issue or?
That's fine. Yeah. Anything. Yeah.
First thing on Cherry Weber, it's not why I came here.
You just have to say your name and address.
Paul Karatzis, 404 Parker Road, Bloomsbury, New Jersey, and I also own a piece of property on Mallard Wood Road in Palaca. Yeah, on the bridge, there's a method called pressure grouting that bridge is a perfect candidate for and would save the township an enormous amount of money. It's used on a lot of tunnels that are in disrepair. They come in and grout the tunnel. Then the wing wall work in the interior of the tunnel are predominantly cosmetic and not structural. So it saves a lot of structural concrete and would save you a lot of money. And that's something I think the township might want to just ask the engineer to check out. But that's not why I came here. Just thought I'd make that comment. I came here to talk about document control and communications. I own a piece of property on Elks Woods Road. This is my 2011 forestry management plan. Okay? This is my 2012 update. Now, when you submit one of these, you submit it to the state forester and you submit it to the township. State forester sends you a letter back that says, "Dear Mr. Karatzis, we're in receipt of your," and if there's a mistake on it, they mark it up and you have to resubmit, so on and so forth. But so far, I haven't had one. So, and I send this to the township. Now, according to the assessor's office, my forestry management plan for 2011 to 2020, my 2011 forestry management application and my 2012 forestry management application have all been lost. Okay? I make copies, resubmit. I have the return receipt from the township. The state forester has it too. Okay? Go back and forth a little bit. I get a letter from the assessor. He gave it to me Tuesday night. It says that, they will review my application, file an appeal, and put me in the forestry management like I should have been. So that's good, right? Here's the bad part that is just outrageous. I was misassessed for the first part of this year. Now, I was told I have to pay these taxes for the first part of the year so the township can, in the third or the fourth quarter, credit me back. And that would not be like taking $3,000 of my money and, is an interest-free loan to the township. But it would be like credit if I have this correct, and I could be wrong on this detail. I don't think I get my $3,000 back. It gets credited towards further taxes. So I called my attorney, and he said that, I should go down, talk to the township, explain it to them, and if I can't work it out with them, he'll take further action. And I called the director of taxation for the state of New Jersey and explained, hey, this was lost, that was lost, the forester has it, I had the return receipts, I submitted it. My assessment's been revised for 2013, But I'm told I'm supposed to give them a bunch of money so they can give it back to me 6 months from now, or credit me for the next how many ever years or whatever it would be. And he said that that was outrageous. And he's willing to, run an audit on the township of Powhatan, if that is in fact the truth. And that is what I've been told. So that's my issue. And I'm here to try to resolve it. I don't think I've been treated fairly. I think I'd like my stuff to be found first. I'd like to maybe somebody to look for my stuff. But I'll be more than glad to submit it. Copies. I'd have to dig it up. I believe it's Wendy.
Well, first, before we get into that, Kevin, is that can you charge someone?
Well, it's technically, I think that is accurate under the law, to be honest with you. But let me just back up for a second. First of all, with the change in tax assessment, we've seem to have had a lot of stuff that got lost in translation. So
Okay.
for that, that aggravation that you should have had to go through that, but we've gone through that with, on a large scale here with reassessment. That's not to excuse it, but it just seems to have happened before not. I can also tell you that probably I just got a stack of corrective assessments. In other words, the township is actually filing its own appeals of its own tax bills to correct some errors, and I had to file about 30 of those.
Okay.
Probably one of those were yours, so that
All right.
your woodland assessment picked up. I assume that it's probably in that stack. I don't have the copy here tonight, but if you could give me your name again.
Oh, sure.
What is it?
Paul Karatzis.
Paul Karatzis.
Karatzas.
All right. And if you get one or something, I'll confirm that. That's probably filed to correct that, because if you have the paperwork in, you have your proofs, you're entitled to it. In terms of whether you have to pay the tax bill now, theoretically, even if you're, just by way of analogy, if you're appealing your taxes and you feel that you're over-assessed, which clearly you felt the way here, you are required to pay the tax bill, go to tax court for bail, and then get your refund. Now, it's not a credit. You don't have to accept that. In other words, if you substantially overpaid, which I assume you would have, building lot versus woodland assessment, once your tax is corrected, you won't have to accept that as a credit going forward, so that will slowly eat it away. That's not the case. What will happen is when the tax bill is corrected, if you paid the tax, we will then process, our tax collector routinely submits form refunds, and we refund them. And that's the way that should work.
But have you already paid it?
I have not paid it.
Yeah, he hasn't paid it yet. So
I
what is?
understand that, but yes, I think under the law, when you get a tax bill, you're supposed to pay it. If you don't, even if it's an error. But what I'm saying is you don't have to accept, when you overpay or when you win a tax appeal, you can either take the overpayment or tax reduction as a credit going forward, or you can get a refund check at your option, not ours.
But the whole concept of the township losing my stuff and me having to spend a bundle of money as an interest-free loan and get that bundle of money back, I have a problem with. My attorney didn't feel too good with, and the state director of taxation didn't feel too good with. I'm 100% in the legal right. I did everything in accordance with the law. There's no reason why I should have to give this township of Powhatan an interest-free loan.
I think as a practical matter, I would simply suggest that you hold off until it's corrected. What will happen, I can tell you, is this. Or you might want to do this. What you might want to do is ask the assessor, hey, when this is corrected, or if I can find it, I'll send you what the corrected assessment is. And then you can calculate what the tax will be if you want to, or ask him to do it. And then what I'm saying is if you submit the approximate amount of what the tax will be, at least when it's corrected, there won't have been any interest or penalties running, because the small amount that you will owe, if you don't pay anything, you'll accrue statutory by law interest and penalties. So rather than accrue those, what I would suggest is make an estimated payment In other words, of what, and we can get that information to you. I can, if yours is one of the appeals, which it
Right.
probably is, we'll get that to you. Do your calculation, at least submit the couple $100 that you were supposed to pay. That'll cut off any interest or penalties, and then it should wash out and take care of itself. That's my best practical advice to you. It's not that there's going to be any, you're not going to end up on a tax sale list or tax foreclosure, so don't worry about that. That's not the issue.
I think that's a reasonable resolution.
I think that's a
It's a couple $100, and I give a township a couple $100, and I
think that's a reasonable solution.
I think it's 8 something. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, 880.
Well, I mean, there would be a substantial difference between that
It's
being assessed.
1,320 from 122,000. So whatever it is, I'll pay the thing in for the full year. I'll go away happy. And now, in the future, how can we avoid this happening to
To be
me?
quite frank, when we have our lead management plan done, I take it in. I don't mail it.
Okay.
But I would suggest that you look for this.
Now, the state director of taxation said that in the future, I should send the state of New Jersey a copy of our forestry management plan too. So if something like this does happen in the future, I send it to the forester, which is the state of New Jersey, but also the director of taxation.
I was going to say, our forester who does our inspections and actually writes our plans for us.
Right.
The township gets a copy, we get a copy, and then also you have to send up to, what is it, Franklin or Sparta or whatever?
Franklin, yeah.
So it's like, it's out there, a bunch of different places.
All right.
And I think just to answer
Yeah.
the overall question is, I just want to apologize for the whole situation. We had, within the move, and we had a new tax assessor hired, so it could have been lost at several different points, which is I'm not making an excuse, but I'm just saying where it could have, so I don't know where we can start to try to rectify that, but, we'll learn from this.
Look, I'm here to do what my attorney said, try to work something out reasonable without having him run up the tab by the hour on me. Okay?
We'll do
Help
that.
us on the side here.
I'll be more than glad
I'll mail
to.
you that petition.
Yeah,
Have the
give you
tax-
everything.
Send in the rough tax.
It's reasonable.
Care.
Okay.
I'm here, and one of the reasons I want to get involved with the township of Powhatan, and the reason is, so something like this doesn't happen to me again. So instead of me, I want my face shown, my name, who I am. Here's your thing, sir, please take it. Maybe give a copy to the mayor and the assessor. I don't mind making copies. I'll make copies all day long. Whatever it is, so I can get this behind me, and I think Kevin did that, or proposed a way to do that, and I can avoid this happening in the future.
Can I make one comment, Mayor, here on this?
Yeah.
Just in my overall listening. It sounds as though what could have happened is his 2013 assessment is the one that could have gotten lost, because we're always working a year ahead. Like the assessments we fill out this year are for 2014. And it sounds like what happened is the 2013 assessment got lost, and once it went out of forestry assessment or farmland assessment, they probably immediately put rollback to 2011 and 2012. That's why you're thinking that they got lost. They probably weren't lost. But once that 2013 went out of assessment, it could have possibly put the rollback into 2011 and 2012. That's just my guesstimation.
That seems like a reasonable, one gets lost in it.
Well, that's what happens. Once you go out of assessment,
Yeah.
they can roll it back 2 years, and then it takes you another 2 years to get it back into assessment once it's out.
And
Now-
your paperwork was filed by the August 1st date.
Yes. Now, I paid those taxes on those 2 years, right? Now, but that's another problem. I should have appealed and sued a long time ago. But 2013, now I said, finally, enough's enough, guys.
So in other words, you're saying this happened back in 2011, and you were paying,
I submitted, this plan says 2011. Okay?
but you're saying you weren't taxed properly in 2011 or 2012.
No, because I submitted the plans.
Well, that throws my idea right out the wall.
Every year.
But it's taken you 3 years to come to us and say that there's a mistake or there's a problem then.
Now that's one other thing I wanted to talk about on my little thing is communications.
Sir, it's a 5-minute public comment, though.
Fair
I'm sorry.
enough, but you call the tax collector, or tax assessor, I expect a return phone call. Hey, when somebody calls me at work, I get paid, I call them back, you know?
But it's kind of hard because we have a new assessor now from what we had in 2011 or 2012.
Sure.
So
A
that
recent problem with the tax assessor call?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then we'll look at it. Thank you. Yes.
And I'll give you,
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes.
Hot resident, but actually I just wanted to talk since you said I was the one who signed. I just wanted to clarify that any Federal Expresses that come in, since everybody is part-time, Wander, I sign for them, and then they get put in that department's mailbox.
Yeah.
So mostly every Federal Express will have one of our signatures on it, but it does go in that department's box the minute we get it. I just wanted to clarify that since
Point of access, yeah.
Yeah, and I will also add as a courtesy also for anyone turning in farm assessment papers into that office, because the tax assessor is not here, that office will accept them and actually write you a receipt for them also. And then
Right into their box, yeah. Any other public comment, general public comment?
Hi, Trish Becker. I live in the township on Creek Road, and I just wanted to mention a few things. One thing is that I think it impacts all the residents here, and that is I have a question about the timing for the website workup with the new company, because right now, since our webmaster has resigned, the website, the official website for the township is not up to date, and it causes a lot of problems. The agendas aren't posted before a meeting. There's confusion about when the meetings are. I know some people came Tuesday night for the meeting here and were turned away. And so I've got a couple of other questions, and maybe I can take my seat and you could answer that, because I'm all for open communication with residents. And I think that's needed, and I think we need some kind of discussion about it. We sort of haven't talked about it lately. The other thing is the municipal property itself. I'm sitting in this big room, and while I'm listening to everybody, I'm looking around the room, and I'm looking up at the ceiling, and I'm seeing all these stains in the ceiling, and I don't understand what they're from. This is only the second time I've been in this room, but I wonder if that's new. Stain from moisture, the rain getting in, and I just don't understand that. We spend so much money on this building. The other thing I want to reiterate, other people have said this too, I was at the municipal property on Friday night with some members of the Environmental Commission. We were looking at the riparian buffer, and we were walking the property, and over by where they have these white wellheads popping up, and I may not have the right term there, and there's big tall grass. There's a lot of rocks, there's buried asphalt chunks, there's wire, like 1.5-inch wire bands that are partly buried, so they're actually a safety hazard. And we didn't at the end of the winter or really early spring, rework that property. And so now we've got all this debris that's partially hidden, and yet we've got a lot of grass there. So that really needs to be looked at. The other thing is we're talking about the Walmart parking area for the Title 39. And I wanted to mention that every time I go to Stop and Shop and the bank over there, I come out and it's Hague Boulevard going on to Jersey Avenue. And I think we need striping there, because it's when you kind of get in there and you're going to turn left, to go down Jersey Avenue to head down to 519, we're missing striping on the roads, and it's actually a bit confusing as to where you need to be. There's not the lane demarcations, and I may not be saying that right either, but You know what I mean? It's confusing. So I just wanted to bring a couple of these things out tonight and request that the town council and the people in those departments would look into it. Thank you.
I guess to respond to the website, 2 weeks ago, or whenever our last meeting was, we approved, I think the timetable was 6 to 8 weeks. I met with him for about 2 hours about 2 weeks ago about the website. So that's continuing onward. As far as updating it, I'm trying to do that in the absence of the webmaster. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but and just for clarification, the meeting did say Thursday on the website. And also, if you have Facebook, we are on Facebook, that says that as well. The issue of, there was the geothermal, the contractor did not install insulation for some of the pipes, so they're actually coming in at the end of next week to install those, as well as a sound blanket for the obviously loud air conditioner. And the final thing with the property itself, the property maintenance, that is a subject for executive session this evening. So that's those things.
The last one was the Hay Boulevard.
Oh yeah, we'll mention that.
The old part, is that near the old Walmart or the new Walmart? You can tell them at the old Walmart. The old one. Okay. Unfortunately, that part was not part of any of our bonding or anything for the new part of the mall. So I think if there's striping issues, I'll email Gwen and bring that to her. You said
It's just one little stretch.
Back.
Yeah, the back way by
Okay.
Tuesday there, that one little yellow.
Okay.
Yeah, I see people in the wrong lane all the time there.
Right. Well, actually,
Was
when you're
that
going
on
on
Bliss
the
Street?
Okay, because that would be ours. Okay, I'll let Gwen know about that. And
That's our,
No, it's,
we have to take care of.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, we'll have to, we have to do that. Okay.
So it's not really a,
It's by that Ruby Tuesday entrance to the old Walmart.
okay.
I'll email Gwen on that.
Any other public comment?
Wanda, just, in relationship to that, parking area, when you come to the, stop sign entering into Walmart, the hedges have grown so high, you are not able to have, a visual to see who's coming at you, say from the Walmart, from the, what used to be the service center or the garden center, where they're just too high. I think maybe even the stop sign is being blocked at this point too. It's not just a matter of coming into the shopping center and the lanes not being designated. That's true. But also the stop signs are blocked. Your vision is blocked.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes, Kurt.
Kurt Weiss, Cohatco. A couple of things came up also at our historic meeting. There's a sign, a road sign, a historic sign that has been knocked down and it's gone. A lot of times the road department picks them up and puts them in their garage.
Where's it at, Kurt?
I think it was Shackletown's. So just would I ask if you could check with the road department to see if they did pick it up and put it in the garage. We'd be more than willing to put it back up, or if the road department could do it, but if we could just see if they have it, and then if not, then we're going to need to do something to replace that.
You know, I didn't even think of it. I wonder if the resident who lives on that corner picked it up.
I don't know.
Would be a problem.
I'm not sure.
Because when it first came down after the hurricane, I asked that it be taken care of and fixed. So then the sign disappeared. And I just,
Well, it may be with the road department, because the other sign by Raymore and Flanagan was with the road department.
Yeah, they had it, so that's probably where it is.
Much smaller when you're.
Yeah, so if you
The
could just
little
check
ones.
on it.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll, if it's not there, then we'll get in touch with the resident maybe and see if,
the neighbor that lives there took really nice care of it, has the flowers planted.
Yeah.
He's very meticulous.
Yes.
A couple other things. I've also heard from somebody, not me personally, but from somebody else, that they've called the tax assessor about different things and have not gotten return phone calls. So just want to put that out there. One thing I just wanted to bring up in looking at, I brought to you about the tunnel repairs, and the Cherry Weber stuff is already taken care of. It's already in that. One of our issues back when we originally worked with the tunnel is we really thought the Cherry Weber's fees for that tunnel work were above and beyond what they should be. If you look at what normal things are, I think they're somewhere between 10 and 13%, and I could be wrong with that, but if you look at that, I think it's closer to 30%. So I'm not real sure, and I'm not positive of that, but I just asked that maybe you take a look at that and make sure that in the future Cherry Weber is doing right by the township.
Concerning those fees, that job late, we didn't do anything for years. We had all these other engineers work on it, architects, engineers, and it finally got done with Gwen Steckel.
I think he's just saying, make sure you,
She was worth every penny.
I think he's just saying, make sure it's relative to what is a fair price.
Kurt,
I
do you
think
know what
that's,
the fees was on that as far as the engineering on that tunnel job? It was over $75,000 in engineering, correct, or not?
I don't think it was over 75. I think it was closer to 38,000 or something like that. I could be wrong.
The problem, and I think, since Gwen's not here, but just again for background, and Sal alluded to it, we hired an engineer to do that job, and we ended up terminating that relationship because he did not perform.
Right.
This was not something Gwen wanted to do. Frankly, it was not within her bailiwick of expertise, so she'd be the first to say. So what happened was, just to help us get the job done and get that open, we actually went out to bid, and the guy who did the final design was, I think, a subcontractor through them.
Yeah,
So
I
it was
mean,
mostly a pass-through with a little bit of oversight by her, so I just wanted to say that in the south side, it did get done, and it got done within that budget, and I don't know if we've got reimbursement out the check from Wanda yet, but I think we've managed to at least stay within our money that we had from NJ Transit, so that was kind of something that got done.
it's not Gwen, it's Cherry Weber.
I'm not,
Yeah.
Cherry Weber,
Well,
they
actually,
did one hell of a job for us there.
They're part of another company now, too. They kept the Cherry Weber name, but now they're part of, and I cannot think of the name.
Van Cleef.
Van Cleef, yeah.
There we go.
what I'm asking is maybe you look at that, see if it's above what is normal. And if it is, then maybe you should look at some other things and make sure that it's not above normal. The other two questions I have is, you said that the budget's been passed. Is that actually available to be seen at this point?
Isn't it on our website?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
You've got trouble with the website.
Yeah.
It's definitely here.
Yeah, it's here. You could get a copy of that, no problem.
So we could look at,
It has to be here.
okay.
Yeah, yep.
And then the last thing is, we are in a building. Any idea of when it's actually done and cost and where we are as far as our original budget and where we at? Are we on how far over and how much more we're going to need to finish it?
I think we were so far 5% over budget.
Yeah, I think it was 5.
About 5% over budget, but we added quite a bit.
That was left out of the initial proposal.
Right. We added quite a bit work to be done here. Like that noise, I don't like that noise. I can't believe it's that
No, it's
noisy.
gonna be,
Yeah, just like everything else.
no.
So that's 5% of 3 million approximately?
2.2 or 3 million. Yeah, not 5 million.
I said 5% of 3. approximately?
I think, what, we got the email today, one, the email about 100.
Some of which was for the Shimer School.
That's what I thought.
And so I think it was about 2.8.
I think the total project was over 150,000, and some of the items which it included, for example, were the old bathrooms were not spec'd. There a ramp on the other side was not spec'd.
There were court things that were not.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
There was a lot of things.
They were required to have.
And I think that the thought of the governing body was if you're going to do this, you should do it right while you're working on it and not,
Contract, I think, was $1.6 million.
yeah, I believe.
So that, I think, is where we're talking about, you compare apples to apples, that's what we're probably talking about 5% over that number.
Mhm.
There was substantial cost savings with some tweaks we did in terms of the
Geothermal, yeah.
So, so we had a big savings there that we were able to translate into doing some additional stuff, which put us a little over. But
And we're still retaining 2%, aren't we?
to make sure all this is done.
Right.
And I guess that when we get all this said and done, we can probably, get a little accounting together and give you the exact dollar figures. But
Okay.
I think for $1.5 million project, it seems to have come in, albeit late, but at least reasonably close to budget.
Then last thing, this is a little bit of a crazy idea, but I heard somebody who did this, and it might be beyond that for the Shimer School up there. I've heard of somebody, or actually heard two cases where somebody has auctioned or not, did a lot of lottery for a property. So you're asking people to put in a certain amount of money with the chance, and they do something. So if you have a property that's been sitting there for a long time, you might be able to say, look, I need 30 people to put in $10,000, you got $300,000, whoever, they have to meet certain criteria, and there are certain things that they have to do in order to win the lottery, and you have to be, I don't know if it's something that the township would be able to do, but I've heard of people doing it. It's
I think
insane.
I think we're stuck. We have to auction it. Like we have to follow certain regs as far as the lowest responsible bidder or however that goes. I think if we could do that, I mean, at this point.
Well, the way this is going to unfold at this point is now that we've restricted the property to low and moderate income, we're heading towards, I guess, the veterans route. So how it will work at this point, it's not exactly a lottery, but it will certainly be out generally to the public because our planner will develop a set of criteria. And at the end of the day, what will happen is that the township will end up basically donating the property. Its contribution will be the property, which is why we're hoping to get reimbursed for most of the cost through the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So at the end of the day, we will have bought it from the school board. We will go out to a bid process with a bunch of nonprofits, as the mayor and Mary were indicating. There are a lot of nonprofits who are very interested in properties like that if they essentially get the property donated to them, because that gives them the access to all the federal grants to do all the renovations and actually occupy it. So I know Susan Grohl, speaking with her, is very optimistic that will be a viable, attractive project for those types of nonprofits. So there will be, we will kind of get into that process a little bit, but our contribution will end up being the property. Their contribution is going to be actually renovating it and then actually running it for us to make sure there's affordable housing qualified occupants.
So the residents are basically donating the property?
Well, we're going to donate the property, again, subject to us
Well,
hopefully.
it's not down
We get that
to
tax break then.
Oh,
We can get that tax break then.
well, it's.
So you got a tax break for donations?
Anyway.
I know, I'm just.
Yeah, write it off. Write it off.
Let me say this as well. The other attractive part of that will be is when that transition happens to a nonprofit. The nice part about that package is we will be able to negotiate with them what's called a payment in lieu of taxation. So they will be exempt from the normal local property tax structure, but they will pay a contractual payment in lieu of taxes directly to the township. And the very nice part about that is we don't have to share that with the county or the state in terms of school taxes or anything else. That comes directly here. So
So it's not necessarily a rateable, but we're getting.
it will be, in a sense, a rateable at the end of the day. So I think it'll be good in terms of providing the housing. It'll be good for veterans. And I think at the end of the day, it'll be good for the community.
The community, yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
But I do think a lottery would have been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Wanted to think of some nice positive comments. As a new council person myself, I realize the hard work and sacrifice and service you all do in your jobs. I do applaud you, Mr. Mayor, for your efforts at trying to update the website. And I got to say, since you've had a website, it's always been ahead of Alpha. And since I've been on council, I realize how hard it is to bring a website up to date to the level of transparency, as Mrs. Becker had said. It is difficult, and I had made a couple previous comments that I looked at the website for information. I didn't have it. It was a little bit of a disappointment. But I got to also state that in most municipalities I attend, if you have an ordinance on the table, you have a copy of it for the residents and the people in the audience, along with resolutions on most of them. As far as the new Walmart and the ordinance Title 39, since the chief is here, Chief of Police, I noticed that after Superstorm Sandy, some of the signs had been knocked down. I don't know if the engineer, when he validated all the different places for the controls, if the signs were up or replaced. Because maybe they were on the original specs that he had looked at when they originally proposed the site plan, but maybe they didn't return the signs that had been knocked down during the. So I just want to make you aware that there were signs knocked down. A resident commented about engineers overcharging, and this is not the first time I've heard about an engineer allegedly overcharging in Palawan Township. I just want to make that comment. And I'm going to represent myself as Director of Public Safety in Alpha Borough and announce before it's in the newspaper that we are having our 100-year anniversary for our Alpha Volunteer Fire Company on June 22nd. We're going to have a great parade. It's going to come up High Street. The county is going to give us permission for a temporary road closure between 1 and 3 on 3rd Avenue and High Street, so that maybe your residents will be aware that there's going to be traffic pattern. That being said, we're really excited and looking forward to this great 100-year anniversary and celebration for our fire company. And I do have to thank Palawan Township's Huntington Fire Company for helping out, giving us fire protection. We're also going to have fireworks that night. So if anyone has nothing to do that day, it would be a great day to come out and celebrate with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, you gonna ride in your new fire truck?
It's a year to build, man.
Any other public comment? There being none, do I have a
Move
motion?
into executive session.
It will be contractual, personnel, and potential negotiations, yes.
So moved.
And there may be action taken.
Second.
Approximate half hour.
I moved it. Did anybody say?
I second it.
Seconded it.
Aye.
Sure.
Yes.
Black,
Absent.
Dan Lou, yes, and Jelly,
Yes.
and Kern.
Like does it all the time.
Yes.
I just say why we're going.
I'm not.
At least I say why.
They can sign those department head. There was one of you.
You got to say why, how long, and if so,
Well, that's what I voted in SR 22 group.
is there a motion to adjourn executive session?
I move that we come out of executive session.
Seconded.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye. All right, motions. Kev, do we have one? Just, is it one?
The only action given is the one matter, the one contract.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I moved then that we adopt the contract that has been negotiated with the police department and the township. There is an item I would like to include on there that was not included though, and that would be a $600 clothing allowance for non-uniformed officers.
I'll second it.
Okay. Becker?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Dan Lou? Yes. Angeli?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. Do we have any other new business?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we forgot what? Don't we need to do that or not?
Hold harmless.
The whole harmless?
No, no.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.